Hey everybody, Dan Rawich here, University of Options daily update and trade recap. Sorry, I was debating whether or not we should have my camera or not. I don't know. Okay, we're going to do that. Man, hat has to be straight, of course. Okay, so another very ugly day in the world of options. The market looks better than the day did, but we may be set up for a pretty good slap down here. Notice the options flow all day long, pure red. Um, Never really got green at all. And then as we stroll down here, you can see again all the open interest is puts. People buy puts when they're bearish. I know most of you know that, but half the audience are not members. Um, this is the dealer hedging. So remember, if this is green, then the dealers are bearish. The dealers are hedging against a whole bunch of puts. So they have to be delta neutral. So if they sell a call, the buyer's positive delta, they're negative delta. So they have to buy shares to hedge that bet. So that's what that looks like. And historically, when that goes up, the price goes down. The price is the white line. So, and I know I show you guys just about every day, but notice that when the dealers are hedging green, the price is falling. Something's holding it up here right now. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's probably it's set up for a real slam. And then lastly, we have our GEX level, and you can see the primary level here is 415, and then the next level is 418. So the dealers have a whole bunch of exposure through here, and you can see that they're hedging. The GEX line is going down. That's typically pretty bearish. Now the price did get all the way over here, but you can see this doesn't look all that great. And then we'll look at the dark pools, but I did want you to notice that, remember on Friday, there were a lot of calls that were popping up. And now I'm scrolling and there's really one or two calls up here. And put it in perspective, the top call is 800,000. Okay, that's a decent size. But the put below it is $16 million. And then we have billions and billions and billions of dollars of dark pools that have been hitting all day long, right about 420.07. So what does that mean? If we go to the price, I drew a line here. That's, well, 420.0607. The market opened here. Well, it probably gapped up, but it doesn't matter. It sprung from this level, and then the other dark pools were coming in at 420.30. And you can see this is like a mosquito to light. It just keeps getting drawn to these dark pool levels over and over. Even when it breaks through, comes back, tries to run above it, and gets slammed down again. And it keeps staying at these levels. It broke again, came back, got above it, over and over and over, right up till the end. We had this great run. We got above all the dark pools. And then look where we closed. It's astounding. So dark pools matter, and dark pools are telling me that there's a little bit of angst out there. We may see a bearish opening tomorrow. Of course, as you guys know, we could have a debt deal announced, and the market could open up 1,000 points. We're just looking at what the market's telling us right now. And of course, it's subject to change. I'm not a fortune teller. Okay, so next. So that's all pretty bearish. I think you're seeing that. However, the market forecast data, it's okay. You can see that the intermediate market is still being pulled down pretty hard, and the longer term market is remaining flat. So this is still going to equal some chop. And then Nasdaq is still stuck in this upper reversal zone. But for my money, it seems to me that it's trying to point down. It tried to point up and failed. The long-term end of the market is pointing straight ahead, and they're stuck up here. Now the Nasdaq is rallying every day, but I think it's due for some profit taking. And then last but not least, the SPY S&P 500. This is turning up, and this is a very bullish. So depending on what the big money people are doing, which we'll know in the morning what they did today, we know on Friday they're still dumping shares. That's what that looks like. But we're starting to see some bottom feeding type buying around here. You can see there were more buys than sells on Friday. This may have been a peak sell day. So this is probably a little bit more bearish than bullish, because a lot of times when we see these peak lows, they are the bottom. You can see here, but this was not as peaky as I would like it. But you can see the buyers did step in on Friday. The BMI index still fell, which is bad. It ended up at 45.2 on Friday, down from 45.6, down from 46.8, down from 48.7. You get the idea. So I'm gonna say that between the big money data and the time cycle data, we are a little bit more net bullish. The options data is completely the other way. It makes me very bearish. And so I'm going to just go out there and say probably tomorrow we end up with chop and a lot of divergent behavior. Okay, that's that. Today we absolutely just crushed it. There were a couple real scary trades, which I'll show you. But Lee went 9-0 for $69 a contract. Here's how much you would make at various contracts. Remember, each contract is on average about $1.70-ish. So $170 per contract. So to do 5 contracts today, it would have taken $850. And you can see the returns are just ridiculous. And I'm going to show you something else in a minute. So I went 6-0 for 40 cents. And same thing, you can kind of see my stats here. Today was a teaching day for me. I didn't have as much time to trade, but it was a very good day. And just as a reminder, we track every single trade every single day. This data will match our brokerage accounts perfectly. And you can see over the last 7 days, 48 wins, 6 losses. We're getting closer and closer to 90%. And then, of course, we have literally every trade logged. This takes a second. There you go. So this is today. You can see Lee's wins here. My wins, if you scroll down, a lot of mine are all the way at the bottom. But I assure you, it's 6-0 for me and 9-0 for Lee. Not a bad day. Okay, let's quickly review the trades. And that ought to be enough. All right, so my first trade was here. Remember, I come in at 8:15. I come in about 7:45, and I take the group over at about 8. Lee has everything up until that point. And they did okay. They had a fair amount of wins. So my first entry was right here at 8:18. Let me verify that. Yep. And I was out at 8:20. So in here, out here. Perfect. So here's the bear signal. Remember, it needs to clear the dot. Cleared the dot on this candle. Actually, could have gone in here. I waited, went in here. It did whip back just a tiny bit, but it never whipped back beyond my entry and then came down. This was a nice trade. The next couple were a little scary. This one never got too bad. But we entered here. We had a pretty good entry signal. We cleared the dot. We did everything we were supposed to. The chop index dropped. Sometimes they don't follow through, and this one did not. However, it held exactly where I thought it would hold, and it repeatedly held there. It never really scared me at all. It just got frustrating because it just wouldn't go down, and I knew it was going to. And then finally it dropped. I exited too early. You can see what happened on the next candle. That was my theme today, by the way. The next trade, I don't know how to frame this other than it's not exactly what I like to do. So I entered this trade at, 10:28. It's actually right here. Is this the right one? 1028. Nope. This one I got out. Yeah. Yep. I got out at 11. So I got out on this candle here. I think I have an extra one of these. I'm going to move it for a second. And so you can see that after we entered this trade, it ran up pretty good. Actually, I thought it ran up more than that. Let me just make sure. 11, 1028. I entered at, oh, I see. I entered that trade at 941 and exited at 1028. So the exit was, what the heck? I'm sorry, guys. 1028 to 11, 1101. That's different. I have some trades here that I was teaching with, and so I got to back them out. What was the hairy one? 941 to 1028 for sure. I'm not sure what. Okay, so that's the exit. That's the inch. I had this done. Okay, sorry. So we got in and it came down and it whipsawed very, very strongly. And I actually told the group, I think we just found bottom. For my money, there were a couple of areas that I thought it would hold. And when it didn't, I did get nervous. The drawdown did get bigger than I like. But ultimately, I was really confident it was going to hold 420.50. And the reason is there is more touches here than I can count, more touches here than I can count. Again, multiple touches, multiple pivot points. Look at all of this. So knowing these levels is really important. And the likelihood of a trade going through a level that big is pretty slim. It's going to bounce. And you can't see it, but there also was a big, huge sell block right here. So we knew we had sellers kind of on the hook. So it came down. Then I was actually teaching the class. So I wasn't really watching it very closely. And then I noticed it really started falling hard. And that's what the exit looked like. So you can see that when it came through, confirmed on this dot, the chop index had dropped tremendously. So I rode this thing down and it actually turned out to be a pretty nice profit. But typically I don't like to ride them that long. That was uncharacteristic of me. Okay, next was 11 to 1101. Now I understand why there's two things. So that's 11, entered there, exited here. So that was a short trade. So that goes up there. And if you look, you can see at 11 o'clock, we had already broken through everything. The sell signal was way up here. The dot was down here. So technically we could have entered on this 1055 candle and the chop index was already going down. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't, other than this trade was exhausting. So waited for confirmation. And then when the chop took this like little last dip, I went in and out on the same candle. All right, I think we have two more. And then the next one, I got in at 1141 and got out at 1143. Yep. Actually, 1142 and 1143. So let's move this over. Nope, that's where it belongs. They're in the right place. So here we go. In this particular case, we had a brand new bull signal right here. It only had to clear these wicks because there were no red dots right there. So the entry was well validated at 1141 and the drop and chop was quite clear to me. And I stayed in for two candles. One candle. Got in 1142, got out 1143. Good little trade. Last but not least, this trade got in at 12 and exited at 1203. And you see the bear signal. That means we go short. Now it needs to clear the nearest wicks. And so that was The closest wick is right there. So the trade validated on this candle, and on this one, maybe the next one, the chop drop, not a lot. Usually I'm looking for a bigger drop in chop, but I like the momentum. I like that it was kind of breaking below the 50. It got in and out in 2 candles and made a few bucks. So that's it. That's my 6 trades. Guys, again, I don't ever want to sound like I'm bragging. I'm so enthusiastic about what we do. And I just believe this can be life-changing for a lot of people if they follow the system. You see that we rarely take losses. The system is so specific. And I showed you what those stats look like. So if you want to watch us trade, you're welcome to. Otherwise, keep watching these videos. And maybe at some point you'll get the bug and you'll join us if you're not already a member. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks.